everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm bringing you another drugstore review today because I've got a product, I mentioned it in a haul, and I just wanted to follow up with you and let you know how it ended up working out because I had a really good hunch about this, judging by the swatches, and turns out it is really good. It's this L'Oreal Pocket Palette. They're calling these the Pocket Palettes. I mean, they're quads, right? But they seem to be a different formula from some of the other L'Oreal eyeshadow products that are out there. I have some of these Color Riche quads. Many of them I do like, but I would say the overall shadow quality in these is a little more hit and miss. These, the formula seems to be very soft, kind of velvety, doesn't kick up too much fallout when you stick a brush into it, but it really like hangs together, and these can potentially build up a very full color look on the eyes, and most of the quads seem to have a variety of finishes in them as well. But this is also a different formula from their larger skinny palettes. I think they're called La Palette Nude. I did a video on those. One is more neutral brownish, one is a little more plummy. Those aren't terrible palettes by any means, but if they were filled with this kind of formula, I think people would have been a lot more impressed by those. So in my haul video, I showed you this quad in French Biscuit, and it really, you know, just by the swatches, I thought, okay, these feel really, really nice. We'll see how they perform on the eyes. I did a look with them, and I thought, yes, they are the real deal. You know, they transfer onto the eyes nicely. These top two shades go on with kind of a matte finish. The shimmers are equally nice, and you will be seeing a demo, by the way, with this palette. I mentioned I was probably going to do a tutorial with it, and I didn't want to leave you hanging on that, so that is the quad that I'm wearing today. But then I was thinking, like, if I do a video just on this quad, what if people go and check out the others and they turn out to suck? You know, what if I randomly found the best one of the lineup? You know, that was kind of in the back of my mind. And I think Lipgloss Leslie had commented on that haul video saying she got one of the blue quads and it wasn't so good. So I went to Walmart and I didn't get any of the blues. I couldn't remember specifically which blue she had, and they had several. So I stayed away from blues and I got 3 more and tried them out, swatched them, and yes, they are every bit like what I experienced with this quad. And I mean, I got a little Dior 5-color palette recently. This texture in these quads is better than this. And I don't know, considering the price difference, that's really saying something. But like I said, they managed to have a soft feel without being completely unmanageable and going everywhere when you put a brush into them. You know, I will be the first to say I love Wet n Wild's eyeshadows, but you know, when you get into some of their darker shades, they can be tricky to use because they're just so intense. And with these, I just find a bit more ease of use. There's no struggle getting them to translate onto the eyes and getting them to show up true to color. But the texture is such that I feel like when I put a brush into it, I get just the right amount on, not too much, and it just turns out to be a really easy, pretty effortless look on my eyes. Now, having said all that, these are a little more pricey, you know, than a Wet n Wild palette. They were $8 and change from Walmart, which that price isn't vastly more than, you know, what you're going to pay for other little drugstore eyeshadow palettes. But I really do feel like they're worth it. I think the textures are enjoyable, easy to work with. But without talking too much more, I want to show you close-ups and swatches of all of these palettes. So I'm going to start off with the French Biscuit, the first one, my introduction to this line, and you are getting a couple of shades that are matte. There's a matte peach, a matte, like a true caramel-y color, and then you've got a metallic shade that after application I realized this is a little bit cooler on the eyes, and then a gorgeous shimmery charcoal, and that sparkle really will translate onto the eyes. It's a beautiful shade. Then I chose to get this quad called Boudoir Charme, and this one does seem to have all shimmery or at least satin finish type shades in it. And I kind of wish there was a matte, but seeing them all swatched out, I can tell that some of these will be perfect one shadow looks. The light kind of peachy champagne doesn't have a lot of shimmer to it, but then you've got kind of a rusty brownish red, a deep bronze, and also a nice neutral deep brown. Next up, if you're a lover of Urban Decay Naked 3, any kind of rosy pink type shades, you might like this Avenue des Roses palette. This one does have two matte shades. One of them is a creamy, very light pink. The other is your deepest shade, which is like a very rich burgundy. And then in between, you've got a soft, kind of dusty satin finish pink, and then more of a true shimmery pink. And because I wanted to see how well their brights performed, I got the purple quad in Violet Amour. This one seems to contain one fully matte shade, and that's the deep dark plum. The lightest shimmery purple does remind me a little bit in tone of the Infallible Single in Burst Into Bloom, which I love, but it's not quite as pigmented as that. I think this will be a pretty shade, like packed on top of a primer or, you know, some sort of base. Then a gorgeous true purple, and then yet another tone of purple that reminds me more of a lavender, but kind of like a deepened up lavender. And just to show you one of these in action, I will demo the French Biscuit shade. First off, I put Milani eyeshadow primer all over the lids, as I always do, and then I took the matte kind of caramely color with my Sigma E25 brush. Just got that going in the crease. It's a beautiful, perfect crease color. And then I took the matte peach and I first off just sheared that out under the brow for a little color there. And then I took the sponge tip. Yes, you can use the sponge tips. I hate to see people beaten up on sponge tips, but you can just dab that right on the center of the eye, and look how full coverage this shade is. And then I wanted to do something a little bit different, get out of my normal pattern of shadow application. So I took my little Sigma Firm shader, went into the bronzy shade that does have some shimmer. This is a little bit cooler, a little bit different tone than the other brown in this kit on the eyes, and I patted it both on my outer corner and inner corner of my eyes to kind of give the lightest pop in the center of the lids. Then I applied a black liquid liner across the upper lash line, black pencil in the lower inner rim, and also smudged that on the outside. And then I took this great sparkly charcoal and just kind of dabbed that on the lower lash line, smudged it out a little bit. It's beautiful. It can create a great smoky eye. If you wanted to take that kind of shade and just really press it onto the lid, I think you'd see a lot of that sparkle. And then I just finished the look with mascara top and bottom. I put on my Huda Beauty Samantha lashes, which I now have trimmed to the right spot so they really hit my eye in the right way. But yeah, very, very pleased with that look. I am excited to get some use out of these other quads. And the Boudoir Charme, like I said, you know, it seems to be all shimmer, but not everything is super metallic in that shade. So I still think it's going to be a nice little versatile quad. And it has a lot of versatility in that I think 3 of these shades could be nice one shadow looks. In other words, just enough shimmer to be worn both all over the lid and into the crease and look like a bit more complex look than just one shade, but you know, you only use one shade. The Avenue des Roses, I love these kinds of tones, and I do think that that dark, deep dark burgundy is probably going to sheer out to be something very beautiful. And I think I'm going to have a blast with this purple quad too, so who knows, maybe I'll be back for more tutorials. Just wanted to give you a little update that there's some great quality shadow quads out there in the drugstore. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.